This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
There's a thin line between heroism and madness.
Here the line fades to nothing at all.
This is a world of Capes and Lunatics.
And nothing is off limits.
Good evening, everyone. It's our end of the year special. I wanted everyone here, but at least we got Charlie. Yes, pretty man. Lilith, of course, our usual. Kristen's here.
Yay!
Yay!
Thank you.
Dr. Kristen, thank you very much.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, yeah, better than Professor. Oh, a few people.
Way better than
the last
Professor.
10 minutes. Oh, Lord.
Anyone
Anyway,
can be a professor. Takes work to be a doctor.
it's the end of the
Oh,
year.
Unless you're a podiatrist or a dentist. There, I said it.
Oh, bird.
Kidding.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
It's the
I'm
end of the
okay,
year.
I'm not those, so.
End of the year special. Anything can happen, or other words.
Because it was, bitches.
Capes and Lunatics starts right now. That's right. Most of our drops are Charlie Esser drops. So yeah, I already said Charlie, Lilith, Kristen. I am Phil. I wish Will and Matt could have been here, but
Oh, because I had a whole thing today about how, okay, so here's the thing. So there was this conversation during Quantum Miss about whether or not prisoners have internet access. And now, of course, as someone who has friends and loved ones who have been incarcerated, I'm very versed in the conversations about the prison industrial complex. And the fact of the matter is that, yes, you can listen to podcasts if you are in prison. Now, here is where it gets complex. You cannot bring outside electronics into prison unless they're contraband. Now, of course, contraband is a thing. They exist, and so we may have some people listening on contraband. But more commonly, what you will have is people who will have purchased a pad or a phone at extreme expense because it is profiting the prison industrial complex. And that they then have data availability, again, at an exorbitant rate that then their loved ones have to pay for just to have conversations with. So it is entirely possible that someone in prison does have access to podcasts, but it is unlikely that they're spending their bandwidth on getting our podcast when, in fact, their family is who is paying for this. And honestly, it's kind of sad at the end of the day. And honestly, it'd probably be even sadder if we actually have prison listeners, because that means they're choosing us over their family. Because they've decided that their bandwidth is better used. You know what? Let me see what Phil and Lilith and Charlie and Kristen are doing. Yeah, I'll find out what my kids are doing later. But let me find out what the ideas are right now.
All I need to know is the library still a thing in prison. That's all I need to know.
Well, some prisons have libraries, sure. You know, it's
The good prisons.
yeah. Well, you know what? Well, here's the thing about prisons. They don't want to spend money on something that's not going to get used. So when we talk about like weight rooms at prisons, it's because a lot of prisoners like to lift weights.
And you got to blow off steam, and it's better on the weights than on the guards.
Well, exactly.
Or each other,
And
yeah.
so, yeah. You know, that was how my mom once explained white collar prison to me, was like, well, and more.
Yeah, they
more
have cable TV and stuff like that in white.
Well,
collar
it's like
prisons.
they have tennis courts because that's what they play. They play tennis. Other prisons have basketball courts because that's what they play. I don't think that works.
Shout out to Camp Cupcake.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but yeah. So, but there is internet access in prisons. We could have internet. If you are a prisoner listening to us right now, thank you.
Email us. Squash this
email us.
debate.
Yes, talk to us. Maybe I'm wrong about what your bandwidth limitations are. Maybe actually, so no, I have adequate bandwidth, but I still have limitations that it's actually down. For example, it might be much easier to download a podcast because it's a static data load to download than doing a FaceTime with your loved ones, which is much more expensive. So they say, no, we listen to all the podcasts because it really doesn't cost us anything. But yeah, FaceTiming is really a pain. And of course, prison industrial complex.
Oh, can I talk about my second favorite Christmas present? Because my first favorite Christmas present was something Phil sent to me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. That was my first favorite present. But the second favorite present, I'm drinking it. It's Danny DeVito's limoncello, which apparently is discontinued. It's super hard to find, but it's good. I don't know why it was discontinued. I hope there's not like urine in here.
It is Danny DeVito.
But yeah, I was just like, yes, I've been looking for this, and I actually ended up getting it for Christmas, and it's really good.
Nice.
Well, very good.
So what was your favorite present?
Something you got me. I'll go grab it. Be right back.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, boss.
Anyway, so what'd you get her, Phil? Because obviously she's going to be back with it in a minute.
It's a reading material.
Oh, it's okay.
Yes, and it's Marvel.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a shock that she was like, "It's my favorite."
You see, what Phil got me is actually. Oh wait, let's see what we got here. See, Phil's good. He likes to give.
Well, I gave her a little extra because one, it was her birthday, two, and she was very generous with me on my birthday. So
no. Trust me, Phil. I'm not judging. I was actually saying you're very generous because you're a wonderful person.
He is. And he's funny. I'm just glad it wasn't a Ben Riley story. But yeah, this is Quasar, obviously.
Don't be hating on Quasar, man.
The Quantum Zone.
Oh no, you know my favorite Quantum Zone drop. Don't you dare.
Quantum tentacles.
Here's what I'll say about Quasar. He's coming to the MCU.
Yeah. Definitely. I totally get that vibe, especially with the Captain Marvel thing, that whole debate. She might be Miss Marvel instead. I found that very compelling.
Listen to Super Connectivity this week for Captain Marvel discussion, amongst many other things.
Well, no, but you know what was pointed out to me on the internet recently was that, of course, we all know that, of course, Professor Vaughn has already been called out. But more to the point, Project Pegasus has also been called out.
Yep.
In the original Avengers. So it does not surprise me that they might come full circle in Electric Boogalore. That's Avengers 4, for those who don't know. Avengers 4, Electric Boogalore. They're going to... as far as I'm concerned, it is. Until they release the real title, it's Avengers 4, Electric Boogalore. And I think it would be perfect to bring that full circle and have Quasar be a character in that, If nothing else, because, of course, it certainly shows the fact that, you know what, Thanos, there's a whole universe of people that you just murdered, and maybe they're not, like, cool with you. There's half a universe of people you just murdered. It's like, we also like to think about, like, Earth, but, like, literally there's, like, the Kree and the Skrulls, which are races of superhuman beings with like superpowers that are like maybe like, you got rid of my Aunt May, like not everyone had, not just Peter had an Aunt May that you just dusted, Thanos. You went and messed with Ronin's family. So Ronin the Accuser, the guy who said, "I don't listen to you, Thanos." If his mom's got all dusted, Thanos is going to have it get thrown down on him. Because, not for nothing, it's a whole freaking universe. Not even just one galaxy. There's a universe. There's like 18 other galaxies that are like, what just happened? And they're going to go pound on that guy. He did not think it through. I'm just saying, he did not think it through.
How to get the drops.
Somebody else talk.
All right, I know. I was going to say what was everyone's favorite movies and TV shows. Kristen, I know what you're going to say TV wise, probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Titans was the only TV show I watched this year, so I'm not much of a TV person. So It was pretty good. I mean, I guess it was my favorite. I guess it was my favorite, but it was also my least favorite because it was the only one I watched.
Why don't they just do a Dick Grayson show already?
Yes, we would say that though.
It just seemed like the majority of it was centered around.
Never would have suspected you guys.
I know, right? We're like not really unbiased here.
But I mean, the season finale was basically most of it took place in Dick Grayson's head, so it's like.
Yeah, pretty much all of it did. Yeah.
And let's be honest, he's really the only character we care about. Like, let's just be really honest. Everybody else has gotten like the living crap kicked out of them over the internet. You know, the only thing he really got reamed about was out of context F Batman. You know.
Oh yeah, but that was actually kind of funny.
Yes.
Well, are you saying folks don't like Garfield?
Yeah, see, no, I think actually all the characters are pretty good.
Just on Mondays.
Many of them haven't gotten that much attention.
Yeah,
I was actually kind of upset that the episode that was called Coriander, like, I didn't learn anything about her that I thought was really all that big of a deal.
She's an alien. No, we didn't know that.
Yeah, I was like, obviously she's an alien. She shoots fire out of her arms. Like
she could have been a meta-human in this universe.
But I mean, like, I've never met a human that does that. So it was like, ooh, she's an alien. I was like, duh. I mean, plus most people watching the show already know that she's an alien. So
yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's debatable. I don't know what DC Universe is going for. Like, I just don't. Like, I just feel like I don't think maybe hardcore fans are their demographic. I don't think they know what their demographic is. It's a mess.
That could be. I do like the streaming app though, because I like that it has a lot of the old stuff on there. I'm trying to watch Super Friends, but I'll admit Super Friends is so bad. It's so bad that I had an episode of Super Friends on and I turned it off to grade papers instead. Like, that's how bad Super Friends was.
Okay.
I would rather read
was it Wendy
papers.
Marvin Super Friends or was it Dan Marvin?
I don't know. 1973. It was
that's Marvin. That's the Wonder Twins. 73.
Yeah, sorry, it's Wonder Twins. Yeah.
Okay. See, yeah, you got to go back to Wendy. You got to go old school with the Super Friends. You got to go Wendy Marvin. See, Wendy Marvin.
The dog.
And the dog. I forget the dog's name.
But I feel like maybe I just haven't hit their stride yet because I was cracking up. The one episode, something happens. Batman comes in and he's like this very serious face. He's like, you know what we should do? I'm thinking like, yeah, Batman's going to lay out some Batman wisdom. His answer was, we should investigate. I was like, well, no crap, Batman. Like, duh.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, this is back when the iconic Batman was
Adam West.
Adam West, thank you. I was about to say.
I do love that show.
I always say Bruce Ward, which is wrong.
Is that all combobulated in there?
It's not a good brain. It's all messed up in there. But I fell out of a tree once, and I blame everything on that.
That's fair.
No, but yeah, it was Adam West, and so that was the iconic Batman at the time. So dark, gritty Batman was not a thing.
Which is fine. I actually don't like dark, gritty Batman, which is kind of my issue with Titans. I'm like, why is someone getting murdered every show? Like, this is a little bit too much.
Because they're in Detroit. I'm sorry, Charlie. I had to.
Sorry, I don't live that far from Detroit, and actually a fair amount of the show is taking place in Ohio, and we're not that bad. We're not that gritty.
Yes. What I will, like I said, having watched like half of an episode of Titans because I fell asleep before. Tristan's watched more of Titans than I have.
I have watched all of them.
Well, good for you. I mean, honestly, I want to watch them. 7 days is not enough to decide if you want to keep a service. That's what I'm going to say. You know, you're going to give me a service and say, okay, you get 7 days for free. You know, it's like, well, okay, one show that was like my draw. I watched 2 episodes of it. I'm not 100% sold on you. Bye. You know, I mean, that's what happened.
Okay, here's an issue I had. When I was going to buy everyone's Christmas presents, I was like, okay, can I do like a subscription? At least for some of you, do a subscription to Marvel Unlimited. There was like no way to gift that.
They used to, but they took it away.
I know. Then I looked at DC Universe. Is there a way to gift this? And
no, did they take that away too so quickly?
I don't know.
I saw that because I got gifted one.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. It either wasn't there or it was very convoluted, and I was just like,
yeah, it's very convoluted.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this because Phil is letting me pick my own gift through the wonderful gift of cash. This is going to allow us to restart the Gamma Cast in the near future.
Ooh.
With the Incredible Hulk returns and possibly Trial of the Incredible Hulk, if not the Death of the Incredible Hulk. And my hope is, my dream is, to start looking at all of the 70s Marvel Universe, which I wish was interconnected, but it is not officially, although only in my canon mind.
Can you go in 67 Spider-Man too, if you can find it?
You know what? Here's the thing. I like the live action, not the cartoon.
Oh,
The cartoon Spider-Man.
But that music is so iconic, Charlie.
Oh,
it's
totally.
iconic. It doesn't mean it's good. And
Get you pumped.
Do some
The
94
music is
Spider-Man.
I would rather.
That's our territory, Philip.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
If I was going to
Coming in
do Marvel cartoons from the 60s, I would do the ones that use the actual Kirby art.
Oh, yeah. The Iron
the
Man
old
4,
Captain America and Thor.
Namor, yeah.
From the Rainbow Bridge of Asgard, where the mighty.
Yikes, that's not as iconic, but I get you.
There's a drop.
Yes.
that's fair.
You'll find our handsome here.
So, what were your favorite TV shows, Charlie?
Okay. Okay. So I have two shows. Okay, I'm gonna have to say The Good Place is my favorite TV show this year. With just hands down, no argument. The Good Place was just the best show.
Oh, you mean the people who ripped off Lilith?
Oh, Mark Harmon.
No, they just had a common general consensus.
No, they
that Mark
just
Harmon is
referenced
attractive.
that. They just referenced that Mark Harmon could get it. That's not a ripoff of Lilith. That is an homage. If it was about getting Mark Harmon, then it would be a ripoff of Lilith. But
it's just a general consensus, and they agree with me.
Yes, no, they're fans of the show, and I appreciate that. You know, Phil, don't alienate our fans by saying, "Oh, you're ripping us off." It's like, no, they're honoring us, Philip. They're honoring us, Philip. You should not be so harsh on these things.
Well, then, show us that you are listening. There's some more of our catchphrases in your shows. Like,
I would love for Maya Rudolph to be on this podcast. I would die, actually, probably.
Just throw in some of our catchphrases. Like,
I'm not a fancy man.
Yes. Well, you know what? They may do that, Phil.
I can see that happening.
Yeah, you know what, Phil? Just antagonize our fans, because now they may do it. They may not do it just to spite us. Might already be in the script, but it's like, oh, Philip was being such a jerk last night. I know, wasn't he? Let's not do all the references to this show we love to listen to because Phil is being mean to us.
Charlie, Phil is Janet. He's our Janet.
I haven't watched the show, so I don't know what that means.
Like, wait, is this a reference to The Place?
The Good Place, yes. Yeah. Oh, you should watch The Good Place. It's a great.
What's it come on?
Like it.
NBC?
It's on Hulu and NBC, and
okay,
it's on a lot of things.
It's only 30 minutes too, so you get
it's
like
30
when you
minutes.
go binge, it goes like that.
Okay.
If you like medieval morality plays, you might enjoy it, and if you don't like those, you might also like the fact that it does a lot of deep philosophical dives, which is a lot of fun, and it's about trying to be a better human being, which is an interesting
Is this the one with Ted Danson in it?
Yes.
This is the one with Ted Danson. Yeah.
Okay. I've just still never watched it, but I have heard of it.
Okay, yeah. If you don't like Ted Danson, I'm not going to hold it against you.
No, Ted Danson.
Ted Danson.
Ted Danson.
George Costanza.
You know what? He did blackface at a thing, and he lost a lot of fans in that moment. So
I blame Whoopi for that. She should have kept him in check at that particular time.
It was absolutely Whoopi's fault because Whoopi finds that funny. But it's like when you do like an inside gag, but you do it on national television. It's like, oh, you don't get the joke because you're not in the group. Oh,
welcome to 1991.
I'm old, Philip. I'm sorry. I remember.
I'm the second oldest. Shut up.
In 1991. Okay?
I remember that, Philip. So
I grew up.
Oh yeah.
But I'm a huge Whoopi Goldberg fan, so I didn't see it live necessarily, but I do understand that.
Yeah. I had to explain to my son recently that I was 18 in 1992. And I was explaining to him how I liked the Animaniacs, and I said, "Well, actually, I was in my 20s when I liked it." I said, "You were 20 when Animaniacs came out?" And it's like, "Yeah, I was actually 18 in 1992." So that's
I was just born like this, son. I just came out like this, fully formed, like Zeus. That's what all kids should think about their parents, so they know better.
Okay, Athena was the one who sprang fully formed from the head of Zeus.
Yes.
Not Zeus did not.
Just popped out of your mom's head as an adult.
Thank you for saying head.
Yes. Anyway.
That's where Athena came from. Athena came from.
Yeah, yes. Well, I mean, arguably, he just ate her as a baby, and then she gestated inside of him, and they popped out of his head. I mean, depending on which myth you read, yeah. There are other ones where she actually was born, but then he devoured her in the way his father had devoured the
Greeks and Romans were weird, man.
So rude.
Lot of
He's
situations.
kind of a terrible person.
Yeah. Zeus is not a nice guy. But you know what? Not for nothing. There's one thing you can say about Marvel Comics. They kind of lean into the fact that these elder gods are not nice people. Odin, not a nice guy. You know?
That's why you always have to sacrifice to them. I mean, they expect something in return. They're not just going to do nice things for free.
Oh, for what it's worth, I'm really looking forward to the this show coming out next year. Oh gosh, with Steve Buscemi and Daniel Radcliffe.
That sounds interesting already.
Yes, it's called. It's called. Oh, answered. No, it's not called Answered Prayers. It's something like that. But essentially, the idea is Steve Buscemi is God, and he's going to destroy the universe. And Daniel Radcliffe's in charge of the Answered Prayers department.
Miracle workers.
Miracle Workers, that's the one. Thank you, Lilith. I'm really looking forward to it because it does seem like this is like cable TV's attempt to be the good place, and I'm like, oh, this sounds good. And I got Steve Buscemi, which I'm on the board there, and they make a little point about Steve Buscemi because he says, you know, a lot of expenses anyone sacrificed a goat to me, and one of his like other angels says, I thought you found that gross. It's like, well, I did, but it's still the thought was nice. And
I can see that.
I love that. Honestly, the clips are good. Seeing Daniel Radcliffe really move on from Harry Potter and actually be an actor is fun. Even though he still has to live in the mystical realm, because he's always going to have to. Because that's just true. He's always going to have to be. I guess something has to be magical here. Even like when he did the Swiss Army Man, still
or horns too.
Or horns, yeah, exactly. They won't let him do. I would like to do something that isn't that. It's like no, you don't.
Well, it's because he's not. He doesn't have the typical leading man good looks, and he's not. It's too late to be the next Tom Cruise, where you can be 5'8" and an action star.
Yeah, he's also got a rounded face, and Tom Cruise, for what it's worth, he has a really cut face. Yeah. He's got a cut face, so it's like, yeah, that guy. You can put that because you don't know how tall a guy is on an
apple box is an apple box, but everybody watched Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, I mean,
but no, he's a little hot.
We all think that freaking Thanos was like 6'2". I mean, really, you know, he's like shorter than Tom Cruise. But he plays big well. That's the thing. It's like Josh Brolin plays a tall guy well, and that's why you get to play tall. If you can play tall, you can be tall. Daniel Radcliffe doesn't play tall well. That's the problem. Daniel Radcliffe might be like 6'7", but we don't know because he plays small very well.
No, I've seen them in person next to Elijah Wood. They're short people. They belong in the Shire. Let me just say that. As a person that's 5'3", it's okay for me to say that.
That's fine. No, there's nothing wrong with the Shire. Not for nothing. The hobbits were really, as they say, the wisest of them all. Which is what Douglas Adams always said. That when humans got out of the tree, this was a mistake, So the dolphins it was the dolphins that said that, they just mucked about in the surf all day and had fun. And, that's why they thought the humans were stupid, because why did you stop doing that? That was good. And, you know, it's like, yeah, the hobbits, they live in the Shire, and they're not causing problems like all the freaking humans and trolls and dwarves and everyone that's trying to get something, trying to get up on stuff. And it's like, no. Just sit in the Shire, you know, smoke your whatever you're smoking in the Shire, and have some 11sies before lunch, because you don't want to go into lunch hungry, because then you'll eat too much. So have some 11sies, have your lunch, and just relax, because it ain't no thing. And yeah, the hobbits were the wisest of them all, and they're just always having to deal with the fact that everybody else wants to destroy the universe. Hobbits just want 11sies.
You heard me, man.
I'm definitely a hobbit then. Because what, Phil? I love to sleep and drink.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Nothing wrong with that.
Any other show besides The Good Place you want to?
Yeah, what's your other show?
Oh well, the other show was The Orville, of course.
Yes,
Orville
coming back
is
Sunday.
fantastic.
Yes,
Yeah, it's back tomorrow night. I cannot wait. I'm gonna live tweet it. The Orville is so good. I mean, it is what Star Trek should be. It's what Star Trek at its best is.
Okay.
Because it is about people living in space. And all of the nonsense that comes with living in space. Especially because it's like, you know, the thing about living in space is like you live in a small town.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get out. You live in Ohio, you know what that's like.
Indeed.
You know,
It's not true, though.
Well, we always make the joke about Michigan is that they like to keep people in Michigan because, of course, we're surrounded by water on three sides, and the first thing you see when you get out is Ohio. So, it's like most people just turn around and go back.
Hey, our roads are better though.
Yeah, honestly, Ohio. You know, my nephew, I love him dearly. He's a structural engineer, and he lives in Ohio now. And I have buried my hatchet with Ohio, although I will still make crack wise about it because that's just how I was raised, you know. It's a generational thing. In my day, we could make fun of Ohio. It wasn't seen as some horrible thing to make fun of Ohio.
You still can. We're not that great.
But anyway, I've lost my train of thought.
The Orville.
Living in a small town, you know, you had these people that you have to be around all the time. And you have to interact with them. And then you infuse, which is sort of this irony and this parody of Next Generation, where suddenly it's not just a Navy ship, which was the original Star Trek, which is, you know, a bunch of dudes on a ship, and we just have to deal with being on a ship. Now it's like, oh, we have kids and a nursery and all this stuff. And so, and we have a bar. For some reason, we put a bar on our ship, which makes sense in the idea that people do need to blow off steam. They do need to go to the bar. They do need to eat and all this kind of stuff. But it becomes this social quality of the story that becomes this extra layer that is really enjoyable. And it is so well written and so funny without being jokey. It's one of these things where, okay, we can talk about Holmes and Watson in a minute. But
must we?
That'll be on the worst side. We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I mean,
worst movies. Yes.
I haven't seen it yet, and I was so looking forward to it. But the idea is that, you know, this is so when you say it's something from Seth MacFarlane, you go, oh, well, that's going to be stupid. And you know,
get his name right. You got a name right.
Well, I'm going to get two right because Seth MacFarlane is kind of the anti-John C. Reilly. Where if I said, hey, there's a new comedy with John C. Reilly, you're going to say, I
gotta go see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially if he has them with Will Ferrell. They're like one of the best, well, up until now, one of the best comedic duos in Hollywood.
Okay, I was actually going to go the exact opposite way and say that John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell should never, ever be in the same room at the same time. Because John C. Reilly, no. I saw Talladega Nights. They are not good together.
Brothers, what are you talking about?
They are not good together.
Classic.
Well, see, that's what got Holmes and Watson greenlit. You see, because I knew watching Talladega Nights These guys are not good together. These guys are not good together. And I will fight you, nerd. They're not good together.
Whoa.
And John C. Reilly by himself, and actually Will Ferrell by himself too, except for Land of the Lost. Although Land of the Lost wasn't the worst thing I ever saw. Are good in their, and John C. Reilly. Here's what I'll say: John C. Reilly.
Dramatic too, though. That's the thing that a lot of people don't know about John C. Reilly.
That's all I know about John C. Reilly.
That's because you're old. Young people don't know that.
Mr. Cellophane. That should have been my name.
I mean, I'll tell you the first thing I ever saw John C. Reilly in, Boogie Nights.
He was great in that too, honestly. No, John C. Reilly can do literally anything, and Walk Hard.
Yes,
that is like the epitome of comedy. Walk Hard is better than Spinal Tap. Fight me, nerds.
Fight him, nerds.
Fight me, nerds. Yeah, no, Walk Hard is
Charlie
better than Spinal Tap. And Charlie Esser, that's look at the two E's in the middle for these dukes. Okay.
Damn, what kind of apple juice are you drinking tonight?
I believe it's hard.
No, it's
There's my
hard,
drop.
Yeah. No, but because here was always my thing. I've always felt that when John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell got together, they're always punching down. I mentioned this to Phil a couple podcasts ago. That when they're punching down, it's like, oh, hey, guys who like NASCAR, those guys must be idiots. So let's make a joke about how big of idiots they are. Oh, guys who live with their parents into an adult age, they must be idiots. Let's make a joke about how big of idiots they are. This was the first time that they're playing privileged adult white males living on their own who are idiots. And I said, that is going to be them punching up at the aristocratical universe that would let an idiot Holmes and an idiot Watson be seen as the savants of the universe and so wonderful because of their proper white privilege. And now everyone's like, oh, no, we don't like it. Which makes me wonder if maybe it's just that all you critics are just like, oh, this is a little too close to home. They're saying that people that are educated are idiots. I can't cotton that.
It's been a really long time since they've done something together too, and there's a time and a place for a John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell movie. Much like I don't think that Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law could do another Sherlock Holmes movie and it'd still be well received and make money. Yeah, that time has passed. Everybody sees him as Iron Man now, so it's done. It's done.
Of course, now Jude Law is Captain Marvel, so. They make team up again. Oh my goodness, you could have that crossover. Just do that de-aged.
I was gonna say we're gonna have to de-age him for 94.
Gonna de-age. Hey, Thanos knew who Tony Stark was, so maybe that's how we know.
Well, that's what Charlie said. Is Samuel L. Jackson's going to be get the award for best animated character for Captain Marvel because he's going to be de-aged through the whole movie. Since
I don't think Samuel L. Jackson's aged since like freaking the Star Wars prequels.
Oh no! Look at Glass. That man is aged.
How was he supposed to be like that?
Yeah, isn't he supposed to look old now?
Yeah, that's old makeup in Glass. Honestly,
no, that's actually what he looks like. Is what
no, he does not.
We're gonna have to check the makeup budget on Glass. That'll tell the tale.
It's $1. I'm telling you, it's $1. Honestly, I'm sure he really enjoyed Glass. Like, oh my goodness, I don't gotta like act like I'm an action star. I can just sit in this chair and speak authoritatively. No wonder Patrick Stewart wanted that role.
It has to be.
Any other TV shows you want to talk about, Charlie?
Well, those are my big two, except of course the Perennial Venture Brothers, which is always great, but it's like in its hiatus again.
Yeah, that they definitely don't make enough episodes.
Yeah, well, they work hard on making good episodes, and they're always good when we get them. It's like Steven Universe, they work hard, they make good episodes, and so the cost of that is you don't get your immediate gratification.
Boo! It's 2018. That's all life is about, Charlie. Don't you know anything?
Yeah, I know. I get growing up in the 70s, like I did, I understood that commercials were there for you to pee, and you had to understand that we gotta honor our sponsors.
I was mom and dad's remote control.
You gotta respect this great Love Boat content that we're enjoying by enjoying the commercials, or at least letting them exist while we go pee. That's all I'm saying. I want no commercials. I'm gonna click the skip ad button on that YouTube
9.5 hours. You are damn straight.
Oh,
did it in school now. Do it again.
One thing I discovered today was Thug Notes from the Wisecrack Network.
Oh, those are good. Yeah. About literature.
Yes. Now I'm a big fan of Garrick Wormulon from Earthling Cinema. And they have it's called Thug Notes, which is I can't remember Dr. And again, they call him a PhD. I don't know if he is, but I don't know. You know what? He might be though. He might have that actor might have a degree in English literature.
Yeah,
you never know. Yeah, so it's like, but he does sort of he's sort of a gangster style character. And then he does reviews of classic literature, which are fantastic. And
he's really spot on.
He is spot on, and he's just fantastic. I just discovered it today. I was like, oh, they've added a new thing to my Amazon feed from Wisecracks. And I was like, oh, it's season 6. Like, oh my god. I thought that like Wisecracks just had pitched this deal to Amazon. I was like, no. This has already been on YouTube for years, and I just haven't seen it yet.
Oh yeah, it's on Amazon now.
It's on Amazon now. It's part of the Amazon Prime app. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I only see it on YouTube.
Yeah, well, now it's on Amazon because this is the first time I saw it. And bad on you, YouTube. Your algorithm didn't suggest this to me.
That is pretty.
The algorithm has been messed up for the last 2.5 years. So welcome to the party, Charlie.
Well, it
finally affected you.
Fox owns YouTube. I wonder if now Disney owns YouTube or not. I wonder if that was part of the deal.
Google owns YouTube. What are you talking about?
Fox bought YouTube a while ago, didn't they?
Not in this universe.
You know who doesn't own YouTube? Us.
I know Fox bought MySpace. So maybe Disney owns MySpace.
Alexa, who owns YouTube?
YouTube is
the CIA.
Alphabet, Larry Page, and Sergey Brin.
Okay, there we go.
There you go. Nice.
There you go. I'm confusing YouTube with MySpace. They're from the same era. I'm an old man. I don't remember.
YouTube was a dating site, maybe. I don't know. I have a long list. So Phil, do you have a long list?
She's on. Let me check my number one dad. Tablet I got.
I told Luca he must not tell lies.
Philip, apparently you're the number one dad now.
I have proof.
They're gonna duke it out in April. Cage match.
Yeah, I'll film it for you.
Nice.
Marcus of Queensberry rules, my friend. Marcus of Queensberry's rules.
I was just looking. Yeah, I've got lists and lists. All the movies and TV shows that were out. Oh,
hey, pick two.
I know one thing that all of us have seen. DC animated movie Gotham by Gaslight.
Oh yeah,
I didn't say the worst. We're not talking about the worst yet, Philip.
Oh, burn.
Oh, sorry.
And actually, I haven't seen that. So,
what?
I guess Lilith was not a fan.
I feel like I thought we did a live commentary, but yes, maybe not.
Okay.
Well, I might have not been there for it. I don't.
You were there, Charlie.
He only watched the first 17 minutes. That's the one.
Did I fall asleep during it? That's entirely possible.
Yeah, he only watched the first 17 minutes. That's why he doesn't remember it.
Saturday morning is already drunk.
Yeah, or maybe I just blocked it out. But yes, I am often drunk.
Feels like 50 episodes ago. Don't worry.
Okay, so Gotham by Gaslight. I'm guessing that was.
Why are we talking about this?
I don't know.
Because Phil brought it up.
All four of us saw it. So.
Okay, well, I'm guessing that entailed, I do remember things now. It's like coming back to me.
We did do a live commentary on it, yeah.
Yeah, Cockney accents,
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think was Commissioner Gordon Jack the Ripper in that?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, in the movie.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
been over 2 weeks. That's the new spoiler rule.
In the movie version, yes.
No, honestly, this had to be at least a year ago. So
yeah, it was.
Yeah, 50 episodes ago. Yeah, we do one every week.
So it's like, I'm sorry. Yeah, Commissioner Gordon was Jack the Ripper. It's just as disappointing now then as it is for you to hear me say it now.
Yeah, actually, that was kind of that when I saw that, because I saw it much later. Actually, I watched it on the DC streaming service.
Yeah, I don't.
And I was like,
yeah,
what?
okay. See, thank you for dredging up these horrible memories, Philip.
I didn't even mention Stan Lee's death yet. Come on.
Come on, we gotta get through TV first.
I haven't seen the body. No body, no death.
I don't know. He was pretty
back.
old. I think it was his time.
You watch it. He'll be back in the next movie. You watch.
No, I didn't. Sorry, I didn't mean like. I just meant just because you didn't see the body. I mean, like old people die.
What?
All right. Lilith, whip it out. What are you waiting to talk about?
Okay, so my favorite TV shows: Killing Eve, super good. Sandra Oh, you should watch it. Season 2 of Atlanta was amazing. Oh yeah, if you haven't seen Atlanta, oh my God, please watch it. It is so good. It stars Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino. Charlie, they're the same person.
So you tell me. Again, haven't seen them in the same room. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
Those Batman shirts.
I agree with Charlie about The Good Place. It's such a good binge though. But then, like when you get to the end, you're sad because that's what happened to me. I had to wait like 2 months for the next season to come out. So pace yourself on that one. And Barry, oh my God! Like I kept getting recommended Barry, and I was like, but it's Bill Hader. I don't like Bill Hader. I hate SNL. Why are you recommending this to me?
Is that on HBO?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll tell you. I've seen 2 episodes. It's really good.
The premise is everything.
The hard thing for me is first of all I have to go all the way to HBO. It's like 2 icons over on my TV thing. It's like all the way to HBO.
Oh,
then when I get to HBO, it's like okay, how do I find Barry again? No, Barry is like the first. Barry is so good. Barry, you know what? Barry is, and again, it's funny because I'm big into the Kaminsky Method. Me and my wife watch that on Netflix right now. And the Kaminsky Method is like Barry, but without the killing. At least the first 2 episodes of Barry that I've seen, and it is just such a fascinating idea. And yes, I feel the same way about Bill Hader that you do, Lilith. So I mean, his name is appropriate. He's like he's like when you have a guy named Dr. Nefarious,
except it's a D,
and then he becomes evil. It's like Bill Hader. Yeah, everyone's gonna hate you. And he's still with that his whole life. But he actually really sells that character in that. And honestly, when I actually try to think about, when have I actually really hated Bill Hader? I find it's much harder to find like a specific thing I hated about him.
Anything ever done on SNL?
No, because he did back when he was alive. Who was the guy who used to do the rest of the story?
What? Did what?
The Weekend.
And now you know the rest of the story.
Oh.
He was
Paul Harvey.
Paul Harvey. He does a Paul Harvey that is really good. And because I do have such a deep love for Paul Harvey in a weird way as a kid growing up listening to Paul Harvey, because that just shows you what of an old nerd I am. When he would do Paul Harvey, he really does a great Paul Harvey. So I always had a weird spot for him as Paul Harvey. And aside from that, I mean, yes, I know.
Shout out 2018.
But Bill Hader is not a guy that I can honestly say I dislike, aside from the fact that, he does have a super punchable face.
He does.
He's a guy that you look at and say, I really should hate you. I don't know why, but he does seem like there's something wrong with him. And in my caveman brain, it says, ooh, there's something wrong with that man. We must punch him in the face.
It's the symmetry of his face. It just like invites you to just kind of want to.
You know what it is? Although ironically,
Rearrange it.
I think he has a very plastic face. I think he's like kind of a perfect face, and that's what bothers people about it. It's a
Wait,
face
you
that-
think his face is too perfect?
I think his face is
There
hypersymmetrical.
is super symmetry in a face. It gives you
Yeah,
that uncanny valley kind of feel. So,
Well,
Exactly.
that's what
That's
attractiveness
what Bill-
is.
that's what
Symmetry.
Bill-
Well, no, not
Yeah, I
super
thought-
symmetry though. You have to have it's a certain ratio of symmetry. It's not if you saw a perfectly symmetrical face, it would freak you out. It's just
Yes, it
it's
does.
not because the way that we process in our
He
eyes
looks like
process-
an android. That is what. That's
the
what
uncanny valley effect. Yes.
He looks like an android. He looks like he should be playing, Tweaky in the Buck Rogers revamp. Although he would be fantastic as a new Tweaky in the Buck Rogers rehash. I think he would be fantastic in that role. Give me Hollywood on the line. Give me David Walker.
And
He loves
I don't know. Does that look super symmetrical to
Walker on the
you?
phone.
Yeah.
See, that's a bad picture. Like when he has his makeup and he's in like actual like camera, like there's a difference between being like photogenic and being video, videography.
Yeah, he
There
does
is a
look. He
difference.
does look weird. He looks weird. I'm sorry.
I'll take your word for
Find a
it.
movie poster of Bill Hader. You're gonna see what we mean.
And then there's just one more show that I have to like tell everybody to watch, which is The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Like, it's
Oh,
so
my
many
students were telling me
horror
about that.
nods. And they have so many Suspiria, which I love. With the original Suspiria, the remake's okay, but original Suspiria, go watch it. But they have so many little nods to that, Rosemary's Baby, stuff like that. I was just like really impressed. And then they also keep kind of like this original Sabrina vibe too. So
Yeah. And Lilith, you lied to me. You said that the Christmas special comes in the middle of the season. That's actually a postseason extra episode, like a Doctor Who episode.
Well, because it's part 1 of the season. So like part 2 comes out in April. So technically it is the middle. It's still
okay,
part
that's
1.
not how seasons work, and I don't like
On
people
Netflix,
saying
that's
that.
how it works. Part 1 and part 2. Yeah.
I don't like people doing that. I don't
Well,
agree.
that's how they do it now. The ranch has me all freaked out. I'm like, why do you call it part 6? It's season 3, part 2. Stop it. Yes. That's what Netflix does now, though. So
Okay, that's fine. Although speaking of which, no Christmas special for Doctor Who this year. Now we're doing New Year's episodes because
Boo! How dare
because
they buck the 6-year
because the social justice warriors hate Christ and Santa.
War on Christmas. Fox News was right. Who'd have thunk?
I mean, I don't watch Doctor Who, but I mean, isn't that kind of?
It's a tradition.
Well, first female doctor,
tradition.
first female doctor, and now all of a sudden they're not doing a Christmas episode.
No, they're doing a New Year's episode, which is
Who cares
actually
about New Year's? I'm gonna be drunk and hungover and fat. And
Maybe not like you weren't on Christmas.
like I'm not
Maybe
that way
that's
every
the
day.
thing,
What do you
Lilith.
mean?
That's their target demographic.
I know I can't watch Doctor Who when I'm drunk. That's like the one show I don't watch when I'm drunk. You never know when those damn
Really?
angels are gonna come back.
Opinion out of my mouth.
Just saying. Never know when
I
something
think
creepy
everything-
might happen.
Anyway, I'm excited, and they're just doing all Doctor Who's now on BBC America right now, which is fun.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, if you want to go catch
They lost the old
one of the other dozen doctors they've had in like the last 2 years. It's like weird. Like it used to be like you had a doctor for like years,
Yeah.
like a generational doctor, and now it's like, oh, we went through like the last 6. It's like the doctor who's just like burned through his last like 6 regenerations just for like nothing. It's like, we like what, like freaking 50 years with the last 6, and now you're just gonna, we'll just burn through them. We don't need them.
Well, you
Who
know,
needs your-
those newfangled British actors are so hard to deal with nowadays.
Yeah, I like back when an actor was happy to have a regular job. It's like, really, I get to come here every day and act? I'm good with that. It's not like he had to be, and not for nothing, it's not like they were asking these people to be the companions. The companions, I get why they left. The
Back in my day,
companions were
these British actors were all downtrodden and happy to be paid pennies.
they were happy to get the work. Well, no, all actors are happy to get the work. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, well, you would think, but then they don't. It's like, and I don't get that because it's not like you have to do the same thing they write new episodes every week. It's not like you're just doing one character in one play. I could get like, oh, I'm tired of playing Hamlet because it's the same play every time. But like,
I had the name of that play. Shame on you.
That's the Scottish play you're talking about, Lilith. Come on, get
Oh,
your theater mythos right, Lilith.
I'm sorry, this is really good.
It's the Scottish play. You don't. That's why they stopped making it.
You know what? You might be right.
Because most people are like, oh, limoncello, what a lovely little.
It is a strong limoncello.
And then grandma's getting run over by reindeers, and this is what happens.
Isn't that the bad stuff happens drink, Lilith? You know, you drink it, and then every time you wake up, your boyfriend has like a bloody nose or something.
No. That would be Hennessy. I don't drink brown liquor anymore.
I do not want to. First off, I do not want to even think about Lilith being an abusive drunk. I would like to think that really she.
Phil knows this about me. I'm
please,
clumsy.
yeah, say clumsy. So make that explicit in that story, Phil. Because now people
are accidentally falls into people and pushes them into the walls.
Right
I get it. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta say no. Lilith accidentally bumps into her boyfriend, who then falls
down the stairs. Yes, I get it.
Yeah,
which is pretty amazing. Considering I'm 5'3" and he's 6'3", so that's pretty amazing.
Lilith, that's just basic physics.
That's that go-go juice.
Gravity. You're hitting him at a weak spot, and that tall.
Oh, she's in the middle weak spot.
Just fall down like a house of cards. Come on. Basic physics, Lilith. Basic physics.
Every man has a weak spot.
So, Phil, let's talk about your TV shows really quick, and then we can move to movies.
Why? So you can roll your eyes at me, Lilith?
No, I won't judge you. I promise.
Well, the one I will say I think has improved over the last season or two is Legends of Tomorrow. Maybe it's Matt Ryan as Constantine.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I agree.
It's fun. It's the one show. It's, you know what it is.
It leans into the skid.
It's the Gwen. It absolutely turns into the skid. It is the Gwen Pool of the DCU. It is saying, you know what? We know this is all hilarious. We know this is all not well written. We're turning right into the skid. We're gonna go with it. We're gonna say it's fine. It's all good, and honestly, I love Legends of Tomorrow because it's a show for fans, in the sense that it is a show for fans of the show. Because if you liked what they did before, this is like all that and more, and it's just playing with the idea of the DCU, and just playing with the idea of it's a stupid universe. It doesn't make any sense, and we're okay with that. You know, the worst thing you can ever do with a universe is try to say it makes sense when it doesn't.
Making sense is overrated.
Well, it's not that it's overrated. It's just like you have to go in with that as your intention.
Yeah, Kristen's about to get her first drop. Yay!
So let me give you. So J.R.R. Tolkien, like, wrote a whole freaking language for that nonsense. Because that's a place for your nerd drop, Phil. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, so he wrote a whole language just because he wanted things to be internally consistent. Fine. If that's your thing, then that's your thing. But the fact of the matter is, you shouldn't try to make something that wasn't conceived to be internally consistent to be internally consistent. You should just embrace, like Doctor Who. Doctor Who is not in any way, shape, or form internally consistent. It is very much a show that Alan Zay's right into the maw of a gaping something. I don't know, but it's going there.
Yeah, but has anything that's been around 50 years ever been consistent? You know,
it could have been. They chose just not to make it. So.
Yeah, it's like so. And you compared that to Star Trek, which is like
depending on which series and what you want to believe.
And then they reboot.
Well, from the standard broadcast series, the Heisenberg compensators compensate just fine, thank you. And they were willing to say, you know what, we're gonna have at least a little hand wavium here, a little hand wavium there, but we're gonna have this be a consistent thing. Star Wars, maybe not so much, but you know, that's Star Wars.
Yeah, it's because George Lucas just can't abide by the death of the author. He can't do it. He always
Lucas has his own thing.
He's almost as bad as J.K. Rowling. Fight me, Harry Potter nerds. You know it's true.
You know what? J.K. Rowling wants to write murder mysteries, and she figures maybe eventually that Harry Potter will die. But you can't kill fandom. That was J.K. Rowling's first mistake, thinking you could kill it. You can't kill it. You can only make it stronger.
So true.
I know the hip language.
Although she is trying to kill the Harry Potter fandom with Fantastic Beasts franchise, which, by the way, is one of the worst movies I've seen this year. But we'll get there.
So I hear.
Talk about not even trying to be internally consistent. We'll get there. Philip, finish your thought.
All right. All right. This is where Lilith is gonna want to smack me. You know what? 5 seasons in, I still love The Flash.
That's fine.
Yeah, no one's gonna fight you with that.
And 7 seasons, I still love Arrow.
Well, that's just ridiculous. Why did you stop watching?
He's lying for the views. He's lying for the views.
I'm not. Listen to shit for sure.
You, sir.
Okay.
No, hey, even though Legends wasn't in it this year, that crossover was good.
If you like
Legends wasn't it, you just didn't know it.
What?
Gary doesn't count.
Oh yeah, Gary was there. Yeah.
No. I'm just saying that the last episode of Legends was them acknowledging it and basically explaining why they're not there, because their timeline has been destroyed, which is the entire reason that the Monitor has to try and say, you people who are destroying the timeline, the entire multiverse is collapsing in on itself. I have to find one of you people that can survive this nonsense.
And they wanted to set up already for next year's crossover Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Well, yeah, but it's all because of freaking Legends, because they keep on rebooting the timeline and creating alternate universes. You don't change the timeline, you just create another alternate universe.
Never go full timeline change.
You can't go full timeline change. That's the basis of temporal dynamics. You can only go back. When you go back, the timeline you came from must still exist. Otherwise, you couldn't have come from it. So think about that for a minute. You can't come from the future and go to the past and change the past unless your future existed. You want to talk paradoxes? That's your paradox. If there's no way to go back in time, not for nothing.
Well, when you're in a time machine, you were sort of in a temporal bubble. And
okay. Listen.
Oh no, it's on.
Listen. First off,
I'm almost out. Wait.
That's why you gotta keep the bottle off screen next to the glass so you can refill. Now, let me explain a little bit of quantum.
Yeah, why don't you have the IV dynamic by now? Just
time is a dimension, okay? Which means that the universe in which we are in moves along the dimension at a rate of 1 second per 1 second. We move along. There are various temporal anomalies about how fast you move within a relativistic space, yada, yada, yada. But as a result, in the past, for a past to exist, it is not your universe. Your universe has moved on within the timeline. What is in the past, if there is a past, is another
there better
universe.
Be a past.
Universe.
Time is a social construct. Don't buy into it.
No, time is a dimension of relativistic physics. Okay, so that point in the past is, if it exists, another universe that is exactly like your own, but at a different point in time. Meaning that essentially at that point of time inception, there's a constant repeated case of universes being created. You are in the universe that is moving along the time dimension in this line. If you go back along the timeline, you're just going to be in another universe. Now, when you go to that universe, you can make a change, and that will make that universe's future be different.
You're basically
when it gets to your point, but you're moving back to your universe. Although, ironically, if you go back to the point in time which you're left, you're actually just jumping into the universe that was just behind your universe, that if someone else had changed, would have been a different change as well. So you're looking at distinct bubbles of universes within a progression on a line of time. So that's why you can't go back in time and change things.
Nope,
And
I don't believe you. I agree with Futurama. You can be your own grandfather.
Talk about inbreeding.
I just love to make that Futurama reference whenever I can about time travel. I'm sorry.
Yes. Well,
Futurama's
we all
amazing.
did.
Anyway, the crossover was cool. They got Batwoman and
maybe it's time for movies. Maybe it's time for movies.
Kristen, I'm guessing you saw some movies this year, even though you didn't get the chance to watch TV.
I did see some movies, but you guys probably saw more. I don't know. I mostly go to I don't actually have children, but I take my neighbor kids to the movies. So one of my favorites. Oops, sorry, my cat is coming there. One of my favorites was Teen Titans Go to the movies.
Yes.
I thought it was okay. So there were a couple obviously stupid fart jokes that were in there for the kids, but I thought it was pretty funny, and I had a lot of good laughs. And they did have some of those multiverse, can you go back and change time sort of things tying in with what we were talking about before. But I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was one of the better superhero movies of the year. Definitely one of the better DC superhero movies of the year.
No argument there.
So I was a fan. In fact, I got the Blu-ray for Christmas, so I'm gonna watch it again soon.
Hey, aren't you?
No, that's a really honestly, I will say I am 100% agreeing with you. That was a fantastic superhero movie. Honestly, it was a fantastic movie just in general. In my opinion, I love the Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, it's quite
in general.
I know, I do.
Well,
I mean, every once in a while episodes, I'm like, yeah, but most of the time they're pretty funny.
Well, obviously. Well, hey, it's a very aggressive schedule.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's a very aggressive schedule. Sorry, that's a TV joke because if you watch the TV show, they actually make reference to it's a very aggressive schedule. Not everything can be a gem. No, I love Teen Titans Go to the movies. It was fantastic. It really, and again, like you said, it addresses all sorts of timeline stuff. I was talking about our universes. Comic book universes operate in a completely different schedule.
Oh yeah,
I know.
It's called plot force.
Well, so essentially, there is a idea. So if you want to work with this idea that you can go to the past, so what you can do, if you put yourself in a time bubble, as it were, that could affect the rest of the universe. You could make the rest of the universe move backwards in time as you remain still, and followed it along, arguably. And that would be what a time machine actually is. So you move your universe backwards in time, and then you can then affect that universe in it. Now, if there are other universes behind you, goodness know what effects that's going to cause. Because obviously, exactly. Honestly, I wouldn't want to risk it just because obviously that's something I'm going to think about.
Don't you know that's what's happening? That's why we have Mandela effect. We have a traffic jam back there somewhere.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Mandela effects. I actually knew I was jumping between universes long before that. Okay, it's like ever since it's like, no, that was someone else in that movie. It's like, no, that's who's in that movie. It's like, are you sure? It's like, yeah, here's the thing. It's like, well, that's not what my memory says. So I'm well versed in the fact that my memories don't match reality. So, and it's not just because I'm stupid. Not just. It's partially, but not just. Anyway, but no, Teen Titans Go to the Movies was a fantastic film. I love that. And Nicolas Cage got to play Superman.
I know, yeah.
Finally!
He was big this year. He was in Titans of Superman, then he was in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah!
It's the Cage-a-sance. Honestly, not for nothing, I'll be very sad if it happens, but I would not be surprised if Nick Cage dies next year because he just fulfilled his 2 dreams. No, he fulfilled his dreams. He fulfilled his dreams.
Left to live for.
Yeah,
he has to make Mandy too. So no, he cannot. Not allowed.
Okay, well, I'm just saying he played Superman and Spider-Man. What more do you want in life?
He wants it all. He wants his vineyard back, and he wants to not be bankrupt. That's what he wants.
Well, he shouldn't have bought the Tyrannosaurus skull then. Okay, that's a whole another franchise. Freaking, that's Paramount. Why are you going to Paramount when you're already in Warner's and Disney? It's Jurassic World reference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying for the trifecta, a nice little hat trick.
Okay. Anyway, what else did you like tonight, Kristen?
Let's see. Well, I did also like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Although, okay, this is my only question. Maybe you guys know more about Spider-Man, but as soon as I watched that movie and I found out at the end that Miles Morales' dad's name is Jefferson Davis, I was like, who greenlit that? Why does he share the same name as the president of the Confederacy? That just felt not right, in my opinion. What's going on with that?
Okay, so the answer to that question is, if I may.
Yes, please. I'm wondering. It's keeping me up at night.
Well, first off, his last name was Davis. His first name is Jefferson.
Yes.
And actually, I guess it's Jefferson Davis Morales. How does he have the last name Morales if his father's name is
his mother's name?
His mother's name? Oh, guess they're not hitched. Oh, there's a whole lot of story going on there. Okay. But if his last name is Davis, and Jefferson might have been his mother's last name, and it's not an uncommon thing to name your child after your with your mother's maiden name, especially when it's a name like Jefferson. And it's entirely possible. As to who greenlit it, who knows? That might be in the comic books because it was written by Bendis. Bendis.
It was written. It was in the comic books. As soon as I was done with the movie, I checked it out on Wikipedia.
It's Bendis.
I was like,
I think that name actually has family connotation for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I remember right, it's been a while since I've done my.
I feel like this is where you need to run these things by a historian, because I texted my friend. I was like, his dad's name is Jefferson Davis. She was like, what the hell? Why would they do that?
I'm guessing, if I'm going to go out on a limb, I'm going to say because he's a big fan of Dukes of Hazzard and wanted to reference Jefferson Davis Hogg, whose brother's name was Abraham Lincoln Hogg. Because the two Hogg children were Jefferson Davis and Abraham Lincoln Hogg, and they were the exact opposites. Abraham Lincoln Hogg, when he was in that one
sounds like a Bendis thing, to be honest.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm thinking. It sounds like a really Bendis-y. So I'm guessing that basically he has a brother named Abraham Lincoln, and you'll see him later, and he'll be
well,
evil.
No, the Prowler's name wasn't Abraham Lincoln, so we're just going to destroy that theory right now.
Yeah,
maybe he changed his name.
Maybe
I would. If my parents named me Abraham Lincoln, and it was an Empire Slayer, I told you.
Maybe
look out for the Prowler, aka John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah. Not for nothing. I didn't even pick that up. I didn't even realize his dad's name was Jefferson Davis in that.
See, that's why I say you got to run these things by a historian. That was my main takeaway from the movie.
She's like, it keeps me up at night. That's so cute.
Oh, you're home now.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds.
You know, my boyfriend actually didn't like Into the Spider-Verse, and we actually got into a fight about. He actually admitted it to me today, and I was just like, "Get out!"
Did you push him down?
You saying he didn't like it?
Yeah, he's like, "It's a kids movie," and I'm like,
"Yeah, kids movies are awesome.
Have some damn sense of wonder."
There wasn't there wasn't enough violence or anything in it. I mean,
I was like, "You watch the MCU? What are you talking about? I'm so confused."
What did he think?
Okay, you know what?
Do you think Venom was better or something?
Spider-Ham. No, I'm going to say this. Not everyone can handle Spider-Ham. Not for nothing. They should have gotten John Hamm to play Spider-Ham. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I liked his suggestion that they should have had Billy Crystal as Spider-Ham. Honest to God.
That would have been fantastic too. Honestly, there's so many people. What is his name? Mulaney?
Mulaney, yeah, John Mulaney.
Mulaney, yeah. Mulaney. He was a fantastic Spider-Ham. I actually will go see him in the Spider-Ham spinoff because he's pitched it to Sony and they'll do anything.
To keep that Spider-Verse alive, yeah.
Venom.
Yeah, we're not going to talk too much about Venom.
No.
But it was okay. But no, Mulaney. No, I mean Mulaney was great at Spider-Ham, but there's so many people that if you fan cast Spider-Ham, I don't think Mulaney's the first guy you go to. I think you do want to go to someone with a little more gravitas, expressly because it is such a silly character. And to cast Mulaney as that silly character, I think makes it more silly, which is not a bad thing, but it is going to put you in that position like your boyfriend where he feels it pulls him out of the cinematic experience.
Let's not talk about Lilith Hellfire's boyfriend's position.
Shut up, Philip.
Lilith Hellfire is allowed to have boyfriends, Philip.
What?
Look, we all think
our
Lilith
little
is
girl's
great.
dating and I can't handle it.
Yeah, you can't handle it, Philip. You got to grow up. Grow up, Philip. Lilith is going to date people. She's going to have relationships.
As long as she comes home
drink alcohol and maybe even dance after 2 in the morning. I'm going to say it. Lilith may go to a place that has dancing after 2 in the morning, and she may take off her shoes and dance. I'm going to say it. It's okay. You can't protect
Remember
her
when this town
forever,
used to dance?
You can't protect her.
How do you guys know Phyllis is literally my favorite movie ever? And I've been obsessed with Kevin Bacon since I was like 8 years old. Who told you? Who told you?
Oh, Footloose. Well, you got to kick off your Sunday shoes. Man.
Yes, I literally obsessed with Kevin Bacon. It's
okay.
sickening.
I'm not obsessed with Kevin Bacon, but
the new answer
it's a
to
great film.
The new 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah,
as Arnold has told us, it is the greatest film ever made.
I agree.
Yeah, you see, Lilith, you're secretly an MCU fan.
He told us
you just don't want to admit it.
He told us
Kevin. You're like pausing it. It's like I love it. I love it.
I told you guys
the
movies that I have seen, which I love all 3 Iron Man movies, which is fine.
Yeah.
I love Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I think Ant-Man and Wasp is okay. I think that the guy, what is his partner's name that does all the weird flashback narrations? I think he needs to be like a character in his own movie, narrating the whole MCU.
From Ant-Man,
I would pay money for that.
Trust me, Lilith, that's been perfectly monetized and marketized. We will have it on a Blu-ray additional feature prior to Bugalore.
I thought it was a good year for superhero movies, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the one.
Which one?
Yeah.
What about
Aquaman? I thought you were going to say Aquaman.
It was decent. I told you. I thought that it was visually stunning. I thought that everybody except for Jason Momoa, because Jason Momoa was just being Jason Momoa, did a great job in the film. I felt like Willem Dafoe was finally redeemed as a comic book character. So
yeah,
I think that was the consensus among the 3 of us that the movie was all right except for Momoa's
film. It's like you can't say it was a great film except for Jason Momoa. He's the star of the film.
That doesn't necessarily mean anything, though.
I liked Aquaman until Aquaman showed up.
I thought some of the Aquaman stuff was good. The young Aquaman stuff was great, especially now that I know he's legal.
Not all of them are, Lola. There were like 3
the 16-year-old one is actually in real life technically legal. So
yeah, that's fine, Lilith. But I'm just saying. I liked everything about Aquaman that wasn't Jason Momoa, except, and this is, I was talking about this last thing I was going to talk. So you want to know one of my biggest annoyances at Aquaman, and they did give a little gift to it, but it's not acceptable. We established earlier that swords do not pierce Aquaman's skin, which isn't how swords work. Just because you're bulletproof does not mean you're sword-proof. Bulletproof.
It's his skin density, though.
No, it's okay. Okay.
In the comic books, anyway. I don't know.
No. I understand that. So, okay. So the reason why bullets bounce off a bulletproof vest, or at least flatten on a bulletproof vest, is because as they're moving, their momentum and their mass is less than the inertia, essentially, of the vest. The vest is shrunk.
But that's like getting mad at Superman for not getting cut by a freaking sword that's not a kryptonite sword. It's kind of the same principle.
Well, no, but he's different because he's freaking Superman. And let me tell you this.
And not for nothing, Atlantis is a mystical land outside of places where China doesn't have to play.
See, you're trying to argue it, but you're just digging that hole deeper. Because then, when Manta decides he's going to kill Aquaman, he doesn't use fancy Atlantean swords. He takes his granddad's knife
You know, I just looked
No,
this
they
up.
did something to. Oh.
It does
Yeah.
say equally a bulletproof vest may offer no protection to bladed weapons. So
Absolutely.
apparently there is a
trust me,
difference.
I do know how to kill people. I write.
Okay.
You do this research. Bulletproof vests don't stop knives.
That's right, people. I do show with people who know how to murder people.
Well, the reason is because the knife doesn't collapse the way a bullet does. Because first off, it's bigger, it's
smart.
heavier, and it's being pushed consistently. Whereas once you push back on a bullet, it says "I'm out."
Yeah, that's number 16 on 25 things you didn't know about bulletproof vests from Body Armor News.
Yes.
Bulletproof vests, not knife resistant.
Exactly. No, they don't stop knives. I've known this for years. Anyway, but now there is an out for this because there was already a wound in Aquaman's shoulder. And so you can argue he pushed it through the wound on Aquaman's shoulder, but it's a wound on his shoulder. So why would you think that would kill him? More to the point, why would you try to kill him with your granddad's knife, which you already know is most likely just going to destroy the knife?
Like I said, they should have had the dad be Black Manta and let the son die. I'm just saying. Subvert expectations. Okay, Philip, we're moving on.
No, but I mean, again,
that's been bugging me since I saw it.
I know, but Charlie, come on,
take it out with James Wan, dude.
I mean, I agree with Charlie. I mean, I didn't like Aquaman. I thought maybe it was just me, but when Charlie came up with that, because basically in the beginning they try to give him a Peter Parker moment, but it, where he's going to learn with great power comes great responsibility. But instead of just stepping on the burglar's way, he leaves Manta's dad to drown and basically says, "Go F yourself."
Yeah. And for what it's worth, that could have been his Peter Parker moment. But then he just says, "Well, I guess it was bad because now you're going to get hurt, pretty lady that I just met. Although I met you once before, but obviously
I met you in Justice League, but I forgot about that."
Like honestly, I liked his armor suit in Justice League more than I liked the one that they came up with for that.
Oh, you like his suit, Lilith?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
And I was really pissed that his eyes were blue in Justice League too. I'm glad they did correct that at least.
His eyes were blue and I really have not seen that film in so long, and probably
and I don't recommend you rewatch it either. You don't need to revisit the trauma. I know I won't.
Yeah, that was a strange film.
Hey, it wasn't like Batman Superman levels of trauma.
Almost though.
Almost.
Yeah. There's a lot of talking and feeling, which I don't want in my.
Which Lil is like.
I don't mind talking and feeling. I just want it to make sense. It's like
talking and
making sense is overrated.
Look, one of my favorite shows is Steven Universe, which is a very talking, feeling show with very silly physics at play. Honestly, don't even get me started when you talk about gemology and why diamonds shouldn't be in charge of things, because diamonds are freaking common stones. They're only made rare by a monopoly. What? No, they're made rare by the monopoly that controls diamond availability. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing special about diamonds. They're literally just silicon not silicon. They're carbon that's been smushed down. And that's a whole other thing.
I'm a millennial. You're preaching to the choir.
When Superman crushes coal into a diamond, it's going to be a super small diamond. It's not going to be a big diamond. It's going to be tiny because all those atoms now have to be crushed into that diamond shape, which would be really freaking tiny.
That's exactly.
So that's exactly what Lois told him. I've hated that since Superman. Was that Superman 3 or was that Superman 2? When he makes it, I think it's Superman 3.
I think it was your favorite movie. Yeah, Superman.
Yeah, it was definitely 3.
Yeah, but now it's a thing. Oh, he crushes coal into diamonds. It's like, that's not how many atoms are in a block of coal. It's different structures of atoms. Don't you know your Avogadro's number?
It's not really our universe, though. It's not really the world outside our window, so I'll allow it. Moving on.
Okay. Anyway, yes. Moving on. Phil, get some control on this thing.
No, you know what surprised me is a good movie, Charlie. I know you haven't seen it yet, but Bumblebee.
I hear it's good.
It's good for a Transformers movie. Let's not get carried away.
It's the best live action Transformers so far.
Yeah, you know what?
I know, but I'm just saying.
You know what? This is the same reason why I was like, Aquaman has saved the DCEU.
You'll never hear me say that.
But
Wonder Woman 84 and Shazam might have saved the DCEU, but sorry, Jason Momoa, it wasn't you. You can go sit down now.
I'm just waiting for some satin tights to fight for my rights.
Send him the Wonder Woman cosplay. I'm sure he'll wear it.
No, Gwenpool. I told you guys.
Hey, you know what? If anyone wants to send me an outfit, I'll wear it on show. I'm happy to. I mean, you know.
Come on, people.
First off, no one knows my size. It's very big.
It's spandex. It'll be okay.
Okay. Well, I have stretched spandex to its limits before, so I'm happy. If someone has a costume they'd like me to wear on show, I will happily wear it.
Come on, people. He's got a January birthday. He's got a January birthday. Come on.
Yeah.
How many weeks does he have to throw this gauntlet down before one of you picks it up? Come on.
Yeah. Phil thinks people are listening.
Well, we have proof by the numbers.
We do have numbers. Okay.
I mean, we got more on the podcast than YouTube, but I mean, yeah, people are listening.
Give it.
I just assume Rob just makes up those numbers. I don't. Anyway,
don't call Rob out because at least
like he listens.
Sometimes he does when we least expect it.
just to hear. Oh, well, let me see what's going on. Then he hears Charlie Esser.
Well, that's great. If people you like Bumblebee, that's good. I mean, I want to see Bumblebee. I actually am really I'm intrigued by Bumblebee. I'm not sure if I'm intrigued enough to spend money for it, or if I'll just wait for Netflix.
I definitely say yeah,
or HBO, because I've got like 3 different streaming services, not even counting Tubi.
Haley Steinfeld is a natural treasure. Fight me, nerds.
Who?
Haley Steinfeld.
She is the girl that voiced the voice of Gwen Stacy, and she was in
Spider-Gwen and Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, good for her then. Mazel tov. You're an actress who gets work. Don't ruin it. Don't be a Shelley Long.
Shots fired at Shelley Long after all this time.
Man, but Ted Danson and Shelley Long takes crap this episode.
Don't get me wrong. I love Chrissy Alley, but Shelley Long, it left a good thing.
Ted Danson, get Shelley Long some damn work.
Man, half a cheers.
Why should he? Why should you know who gives Shelley Long work is freaking Ed O'Neill. Ed O'Neill reaches out. I don't know why, but Ed O'Neill says, "You know what? You'll be my ex-wife." And that's Modern Family. Okay. With my favorite character, of course, Doc Samson in it. Phil Dunphy. I remembered his first name. It's Phil. Phil Dunphy. Yeah. Ty Burrell played Doc Samson, who'll be back in Electric Boogaloo. Mark my word.
Even in a 3-hour end game, which they're probably going to have. I don't know if I told you. I don't know if they're going to have room for Doc Samson or.
They're going to have room for 3 hours, and the MCU nerds are going to freaking eat it up.
Here's what I'm going to say. First off, Ty Burrell is the opening scene. And it's just Ty Burrell.
He wants to Hulk on a psychiatrist couch, you know.
Exactly. It's going to be a replay of that after credit scene where, from Iron Man 3, where Robert Downey Jr. is talking to Banner about all this stuff. Says, I'm not that kind of doctor. It's going to be that, but it's actually going to be Ty Burrell saying,
doctor.
I am that kind of doctor, and you're messed up, young man. Let's try some hypnosis. Wee. And then we're going to get Professor Hulk the rest of the episode. And that's going to be fun.
I told you, Joe Fixit, the Gray Hulk. Come on.
Well, I don't know if they might do it there because it's a perfectly good place to put in a Joe Fixit.
I want a Hulk in a pinstripe suit beating on Thanos. Come on.
Yeah, don't get me... I'm still mad when John Byrne decided to make Joe Fixit green because he came back and he was being Joe Fixit. It was actually Professor Hulk, but he was playing as Joe Fixit. Like, who's going to think Joe Fixit's green? That doesn't make sense.
You mean Peter David?
Was it Peter David? Oh, it was Peter David. That guy.
He blacked it out. We all
Yes,
know why.
that's right. Peter David, who we spoke to, a year or two ago, who called you a dumbass. Yes.
We'll never let you live it down.
I love that. It's like a badge of honor. I told you.
This time I'm ready for you, Peter. I'm ready.
Oh, he gave me a new mission tonight on Super Connectivity. I got to try to get a hold of John Byrne.
Yeah, get me Byrne.
Get John Byrne on the phone.
I promise we won't talk about MC porn.
I guess I'll just have to dive right out of that conversation then, since he's made that promise.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry to bother you, Charlie. I can't believe you didn't mention it.
What?
Sorry to bother you, the movie.
Oh, sorry to bother. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I did see that one. That was
a head trip.
Yeah.
Here's my
I
biggest...
was not expecting what happened at the end of that, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know what's great about that is you don't think it's a sci-fi film until the very end, and then you go back and go, oh wait, yeah, it was always a sci-fi film.
Yeah.
But here's my biggest thing about it is there's no way not to think that the second half of the film is not a fever dream because he got hit in the head.
Yeah.
Because it all changes after
he gets hit. Is heavy, bro. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, well, that's why we're in the freaking bandage rest of it. No, sorry to bother you. Who was in that?
Lakeith Stanfield from Atlanta. Okay. Tessa Thompson from Thor. The Thor.
Yeah, I know it's Tessa. Tessa's great.
And there's the guy Glenn who plays Glenn from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And then it's Armie Hammer as the evil business guy. I say let's get him for Lex Luthor since he does have a relationship with Warner's. I'm just saying.
I don't know what Armie Hammer. Honestly, the Armie Hammer is like always, and Armie Hammer. He's auditioned for Cap. He's auditioned for Batman. He's auditioned for everything, and they're always like, "You're almost there."
The man from Uncle didn't take off, so you got to do what you got to do.
And he was great in that Kevin Smith vehicle with the devil, as the devil's other son, Reaper.
Oh,
I remember Reaper. I loved Reaper.
You're like 1 in 10 people.
I was number 8. Yes. We all get together every so often. It's a great reunion. It's great. But no, I mean, Armie Hammer is honestly he's
the bootleg John Hamm. Let's just call it what it is.
You know what it is? He's the guy who doesn't get the opportunities that he probably deserves. Maybe he's, you know what? I think maybe he was a bad guy in the previous life.
I was gonna say, was he Hitler in a past life or something?
I wouldn't go that far because he's still a millionaire.
He was the guy that beat Hitler.
It's not like his life is that hard.
Like, that's who he was.
Yeah, he's got like almost Ted Danson level fame. You know, he's not being hurt by his life, but his life is like, it's like you can tell this guy could have a better life, but he's not getting the breaks he needs. And that's, nothing else says that life is all about chance and luck than Armie Hammer's career. If he had better luck, he'd have had a better career, but he hasn't had better luck yet.
Did anybody see A Star Is Born?
No, but I hear it's good.
The remake.
The 5th one already?
No, I'm just kidding. It's like the 2nd or 3rd remake. But
yeah, I know it's at least the 3rd because there was
Hollywood is obsessed with that movie, but the Gaga Bradley Cooper version actually took me by surprise. The soundtrack is amazing. And I hope she does win an Oscar for not Shallow, but Remember Us is the Way We Were. Yeah, that's a great song.
Does she go by Lady Gaga in the film?
No, I mean that's her name, but I think she actually
it's not her name. Her name. She actually has an actual name. Her mother.
Yeah, Stephanie Giamatti. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's like.
But no, in the credits, she is credited as Lady Gaga because that's what everybody knows.
Well, I mean, good for her. I mean, she's actually a very talented artist and creator.
But Bradley Cooper surprised me. Like, not only did he direct it, I was like, you can sing, and it didn't sound auto-tuned at all. So it really surprised me. He might be this next generation's Clint Eastwood. Because I think he's a better director than he is an actor.
Oh, so someday soon he'll just be talking to an empty chair.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's not go there. I was gonna say
I still like Clint Eastwood despite that. Even though that last movie he just made has me kind of scratching my head. I was like, he's an old guy. I'm just gonna let it slide this one time. He's on the way to see Stan Lee pretty soon, so I'm just gonna let it go.
You know what though? That's the thing. It's like you can't at a certain point you can't say, oh, he's old. It's like he's old means he came of age in the 60s.
And either you went one way, super liberal, or you went the other way. And this is
it means you actually understood humanity as a concept, or you decided humanity was, for posers like Ayn Rand, like freaking Stephen Ditko, who I'm not going to cry when he passes away. Oh, I said it.
I take it from what it is.
I'm not going to cry.
I can separate the art from the person, and I think he is.
I'm gonna have to look up more about him. I don't know about his the human contract.
He's an objectivist. He's like hardcore objectivist. He actually would not put in other superheroes to help Spider-Man because he felt that if another superhero needed another superhero to help them, that meant they weren't really super.
That's weird. That's some weird shit right there.
They weren't into franchising and marketing and toys back then.
Well, that was back when you could get away with being a crazy, not like freak. That's why I'll say this much for Alan Moore. He called Steve Ditko out with Rorschach.
Charlie Esser called out Alan Moore. Take a drink.
This is me saying something.
Wait, is this like a common thing?
Moore. It is, madam. It is.
Okay. I despise Alan Moore as an artist, except that he does speak truth to power on occasion.
I believe it didn't. Wasn't this drop? Were you talking about Alan Moore?
A sexually adventurous freak.
No, that wasn't. That was Ragdoll.
Okay.
It equally applies.
What I said about Alan Moore is What I said about Alan Moore is not everything is a weird sex thing. Why is that not a drop?
My big thing.
I am big all over. So, and people think that's a drop.
I'm big all over.
I am big all over. But that's the thing is that Alan Moore is very sexually obsessive in the way a lot of artists get that way. And not for nothing, Gene Roddenberry was the same way, not sexually, but he very much revisited the same concepts again and again and again and again. And it's like, as an artist, you need to branch out if you want to remain relevant, or you need to stop making art. You either have to say...
But it is a thing called dominating your niche. Or maybe I've just been watching too many certified YouTube marketing videos. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know what?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, let me put it this way. If it's a YouTube-related idea, so if you're in a niche and you're dominating your niche, that's talking about like maybe a 5-year, 10-year period at most. So yes, being the best guy who does this thing in that niche for 10 years is perfect. If you're doing 30 years out, then what wasn't that go revisit that same idea I once did 30 years ago?
It's not really him doing it at this point because he's been long gone for a while. It's everybody being afraid to do new intellectual property, just to be fair.
Who, Alan Moore? Alan Moore still does new things.
No, I'm talking about Gene Roddenberry.
Oh, yeah, Gene Roddenberry. No, I'm actually talking about Gene Roddenberry as Gene Roddenberry. Yeah. Gene Roddenberry, and I'm not saying he did sexual things, but Gene Roddenberry. This was something that, Brandon Braga used to say about, that what it was like the hard thing with him was like, he wouldn't let you do anything different with Starfleet. It's like, no, Starfleet is this. Starfleet is that, and let's go find God and say God is a child, and then go home because we're better than God. That was literally his thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. It made a great set of stories, and it wound up giving us Q, and Q as the Godchild is really fantastic as a character that's evolved and grown over the years. Since a century technically 2 centuries, so yeah. That was Roddenberry's shtick, and you can go back to it for a while, but at a certain point you got to say you need you either have to let another artist tell the story, or you have to find something new to say about your story. You can't always be going back to, oh, here's someone who had a weird sex thing happen to them. Either good or bad.
Looking at you, Abby. Hashtag sophisticated suspense.
Swamp Thing, yes.
Oh, don't even get me started on Swamp Thing. That's
Swamp
just,
Thing.
man. It's, honestly, it's just Alan Moore trying to make Swamp Thing be Man Thing and not doing a good job at it. I'm just saying, Man Thing was at the crossroads of infinities and the green long before freaking
Marvel vs. DC.
Long before Swamp Thing ever was. Man Thing was always at the center of the universe, the nexus of realities. And then Alan was like, oh, that's something I could steal. Let me write that in my story.
Like
Marvel, look at these old.
But okay, we're gonna just move on.
Let me look at these old Carlton comics. Oh, here's a story I can steal. I'll write that one.
We get past Charlie as we're talking about Man Thing. Okay.
And just one more movie because I want it to be a franchise.
Okay.
Steve McQueen's Widows. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. It's got Viola Davis. It's got Colin Farrell. And it's based on like an old British TV show. So yeah, I thought it was very good, and it's all female ensemble cast that was actually good. So I say support it, please.
Yeah, sounds good.
My only problem with Steve McQueen films is that he has the name of another person.
Yes.
And it's like when Spike Jonze does a film, I say, oh, I bet there's gonna be a lot of crazy music in this, and it's like, oh, it's a different Spike Jonze. Oh. That's always hard for me. And I know Spike Jonze is dead, but it's like, oh, there's another Spike Jonze who does other things. And it's like, oh, he doesn't do the Spike Jonze routine. And it's a little disappointing to me. So anytime I hear Steve McQueen making a film, I get all excited. I go, oh, wait.
Yes.
Different.
But that Steve McQueen is still a very good reason to get excited, I have to say. I enjoy him as a
I'm not saying
director.
anything bad about Steve McQueen. I'm sure he's a great director.
If you love action, he's your guy.
I've been wanting to watch Widows, so it's like, my biggest problem is like I can only see so many films, and most of them have to do with superheroes for either for this reason or for the children's reasons. So
the children, think of the children.
Well, yeah, that's a good thing about dogs, Lilith, is they don't want to go to movies. You can.
I don't even have a dog. I have a bunny, so.
I thought you don't have dogs anymore. Okay.
I gave them to my ex 6 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. So bunnies are better.
Clean,
they still can't
quiet,
take them to the movies.
Smart. Bunnies, invest.
Invest in bunnies, but not General Woundwort.
Watership Down traumatized me, by the way. Both the original and the remake. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this again.
That surprised me that they were like, hey, what can we make a film of? How about Watership Down?
I love bunnies, but
yeah. A little weird is like apparently Patrick Stewart did an Animal Farm remake a few years ago.
Shut up! Now I need to find those. If he's not the pig, so help me goodness.
Oh, of course he's the pig. I think he's actually Napoleon. So do you want Patrick Stewart as a villain? I think Patrick Stewart did. I don't know if he plays Farmer Jones too. He might. That would make actually perfect sense if he's both Farmer Jones and Napoleon.
Take that, Shatner.
You leave my little baby Shat alone.
Oh my lord! Guess what? Guess what? He's coming to the next Steel City Con. Guess when it is? The weekend of April 13th.
Well, we won't be available.
I was gonna say one weekend I'm not in town. Although I think I was looking on the website. He wants like, you get like an autograph and all kinds of stuff. Like I don't know if you get like a meet and greet or whatever. It's like $249 for Shatner.
It better be a meet and greet for that.
Yeah, well, of course it is. You know how much it costs to get Stan Lee's autograph? Please.
Well, now it's impossible.
Yeah. Well, that's why you should have invested.
Well, now it just cost you a Ouija board.
Yeah. No, it was like because I remember my friend Don actually, he actually paid the extra. It was like $300.
Oh, was it for Stan? Was it?
Yeah, you get your picture with Stan.
Quick, nobody tell Dean Kane because he's still reasonable. So nobody tell him. You shut your mouth.
hey! I kind of.
I'm just saying.
I kind of squeezed in a couple weeks ago on
cultural icon.
I kind of squeezed in like a couple weeks ago when Tyler met Dean Kane. Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
He's a great guy. I loved him on Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Talk about a career where you know life's not fair.
Oh,
He deserves better. I'm just gonna.
I don't know. He gets political sometimes. I don't know.
Well,
You gotta
that's
watch
the same reason why I kind of feel bad for Jim Caviezel, because he's kind of that way too.
Well, you gotta be careful with that nonsense. You don't get into this business to get political, unless that's your business.
you get into this business to make some coin.
Or to have a platform for your voice to be heard, you know.
Because obviously we get political and we don't make coin. So, but if that proves the theory, there you go.
What's that phrase the young kids say now? Go woke, go get woke, go broke.
I thought it was
I don't care.
The YouTube kids will get it. It's not for you.
Princess.
Yes.
that sounds like young Charlie Esser.
Moving along, Philip. Come on.
All right, are we done?
Get broke getting woke. Actually, I think it's when you stay asleep, you lose your keep.
Oh, okay.
Something.
TV movie 1999. Patrick Stewart is the voice of Napoleon in Animal Farm.
Told you.
It's that long ago, and I haven't discovered it.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, Lilith, that's almost 20 years ago.
You know what? My gosh, that is almost.
Hey, it's free.
I was in either middle school or starting high school, so
it's free on Amazon Prime right now. So,
that's why Prime. You gotta have a Prime account.
Let's do a watch. Come on, guys.
Phil, do you have Prime?
Yes, Daniel got it. Yes, we have Prime.
Sweet, we're gonna do a watch. You're
invited.
invited.
Oh, hail our Amazonian overlords!
The greatest transformer ever, Amazon Prime.
Careful not to get downgraded to USDA Prime.
Actually, I have actually always modeled my life after Boxer, which is ridiculous. But it is how I
will work harder. Yeah.
I will work harder. I love Boxer. Boxer was always my jam as a kid.
Yeah, totally. When he got sent to the glue factory, I was devastated, man.
We don't know that.
Wait, did we just spoil something for Phil?
Bought the wagon.
Wait, Phil, you never read Animal
the glue
Farm?
factory.
No, I did.
Don't know he went to the glue factory.
I was like, what kind of high school did you go to if you didn't have to read Animal Farm? My God.
Yeah.
All right, Phil.
All right.
You never read Animal Farm?
No, I did. I said I was just being overly dramatic, Charlie Esser.
Okay, yeah.
Unlike yourself.
I am never overly dramatic. I am the exact right amount.
I'm at the exact level of dramatic. All right, so my
Yes.
What?
Kelsey Grammer is in this Animal Farm too.
No. I heard about this one. I just never went to go dig around in it.
Lilith.
I love Kelsey Grammer.
He plays Farmer Jones, doesn't he?
He's Snowball.
Oh, he's Snowball? Oh.
Huh, how out of character for him.
Yeah, I would not see him as the Trotsky at all.
All right, well, we're going to have to watch it now. We'll have to.
Yes.
Make it so, Philip.
All right, we've okay, Patrick's doing it. Yeah, we're gonna have to do a rewatch with the four of us. That might have to be the next big round table. Okay, but before we go, I just wanted to say to everyone listening, thank you for listening, and everybody here, and along with those of us who couldn't be here tonight, this is like the best team in the business, people. Lilith, Charlie, Kristen, and like I said, our friends who couldn't be here, like Will.
What about our Quasar podcast, The Quantum Zone?
Matt.
What about our Quasar podcast?
And of course, our closer, of
King
course,
of the Drops,
Mr. Moz Manzor.
I got you.
That's probably the biggest disappointment that Moz wasn't here, because he's the one I don't get to work with on a regular basis.
I know. I gotta work that out, man. You know what? When we do the Gamma Cast reboot,
yeah,
I'm gonna try and get you two together. Moz is like really hard to schedule. He has like a life, and see, like Lilith doesn't appreciate this, but like Phil, you understand when you have like people in your life that you have to like be somewhere for. It's like, there's a place you're at anyway.
I'm sorry that I'm my own boss. I boss my significant others around.
No. Nothing wrong with that. Honestly, Liz, I'm envious of it. But I'm just saying, it's like me and Phil, we know we're coming home at night. We know we're gonna be somewhere. But like, if you can live your own life, you don't have to be home. You can be somewhere else. And so you can go do other things. So it's much harder to get those people into a thing.
True.
You know, when you know, because honestly, if I didn't have to be here, there was stuff I could be doing. Trust me, there was a nice young thing I could have done that right now, but
Good Lord. All right, let's get out of here. Again, people, the best team in the business. But all right, Kristen, where can people get a hold of you? Or to promote anything? Any thoughts? Let it rip. No.
I don't do Twitter or anything. Because I'm
Promote the book.
oh my goodness, there's a book.
Promote the book.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. So.
Wait, you have a book and you're not promoting it?
She's so modest. Oh my God. I would have like the t-shirt of the book cover.
There's 4 people listening. They might want to buy your book. Just tell them about your book.
Okay, they should buy it. 4 people listening. Phil has a picture of it. It's about Dick Grayson. It came out a couple years ago when he was 75. He's going to be 80 soon. You should get it before then so you know everything.
So this is a great book about Dick Grayson?
Yep.
It's like it's a bunch of like essays.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to read it because I will now go out and buy that.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it on Amazon? Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's bought. There we go.
All right. All right, now that we got the humble one out of the way. All right, Lil Hellfire, where can people find you everywhere?
If you nerds want to fight me on Twitter, you can find me at Lil Hellfire. If you want to hang out with me on the gram, you can find me at Lil Hellfire 86. If you want to talk my second favorite superhero in red and blue, Superman or Smallville, you can find me on at Saving Podcast on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and or Twitter. Want to remind you guys that our Ultimate Spider Cast will be dropping very shortly.
January 1st.
So please do check it out. And Philip?
No, you skipped over Charlie Esser. Charles Esser.
Well,
we saved the best for last around here. I'm used to editing.
Well, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way, way our mothers and our fathers once did. At superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me tomorrow night as I live tweet Orville. And then later, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Gotham and all those wonderful shows on the Twitters at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsselcr. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality.
And send us your thoughts. capesandlunatics@gmail.com, facebook.com/capesandlunatics, @capeslunatics on Twitter, Capes and Lunatics on Instagram, and the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES.
38 capes. Not just one, 38.
That's a lot of capes.
That is the exact right amount of capes.
But yes, everyone, join us in 2019. It's been a great year. It's going to be even greater next year. But for the last time in 2018, we have been the Capes.
Ampersand.
The Lunatics.
And a real professor, a real doctor, Charlie Esser.
A real doctor, yes. I give nothing but respect.
Doctor.
The doctor is in. If you got a fever, we got the doctor.
Not that kind of doctor.
A doctor enough for a podcast. That's what I gotta say.
Man, too bad.
More of a
Will-
doctor than anyone here. That's all I'm going to
I was
say.
gonna say, too bad Will wasn't here. I had another real professor ready to roll.
Is he a doctor?
I don't know. We'll have
Or is
to
he
ask him.
just a master? You know,
If it's good enough for Doctor Who, it's good enough for us.
That's my theory about Doctor Who, is that there's only one degree given by Gallifrey University. There's a doctorate, and then there's a master, and then the bachelor is the third Time Lord.